Welcome. This is Cosmic Wanderers, where we explore the mysteries of existence. Today, we dive into love. Science tells us it's just hormones and neurons firing in our brains. But what if it's more? What if some souls are destined to find each other, beyond logic and time?
Well, let's find out and wander into the unknown together. Love, it's everywhere. Songs, poems, we all experience it. But it's still such a mystery.
Definitely multifaceted. Like, we think we get it, but then it surprises us. It can really change your life in ways you'd never expect.
Totally. And that's what we're diving into today, right? The complexities of love. Not just the simple, happily ever after stuff, the real deal.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at all sorts of perspectives, like we'll with the philosophy, guys like Plato, then some psychology, and even how movies show us love.
It's kind of like running an archaeological dig, uncovering all these layers of meaning about love, something humans have been thinking about forever.
So those philosophical foundations, you have Plato, who saw love as this striving for something bigger, reaching for truth and beauty. He thought it connected us to something divine.
I like that, the idea that love can elevate us, help us see something deeper about ourselves, about the world.
Then you have the existentialists, Sartre, for example. Totally different gear. For them, love was more about figuring out who you are, but in the eyes of another person.
It's interesting how movies kind of reflect those different views. Take Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. A couple erases their memories, right? But that love, it's still there somehow.
It's like the film is saying you can't just erase love. There's something deeper there that can't be wiped away. Almost like that platonic idea, something beyond the physical.
And then you've got a movie like Mr. Nobody, where the main character, he lives all these different possible lives with different loves. Makes you wonder, is love destiny? Or like a mix?
Choice, different paths. That reminds me of Kierkegaard's Leap of Faith. Each decision, who we love, it closes off other options. It shapes our whole lives.
Well, yeah, think about that. Each choice in love leading us down a different road, like a ripple effect.
Now, want to get a little provocative? Friedrich Nietzsche, he saw love through the lens of power. Even when it's super passionate, there's control there, self-assertion.
So, not exactly love conquers all. Makes you think even the most selfless acts, maybe there's a bit of self-interest in there too.
Nietzsche, he wasn't into ideal life, bro. Thought it could make you weak. He was all about love that, makes you stronger, a love that pushes you to be better.
So not sacrificing yourself for someone else, but challenging each other to grow, overcome stuff.
Exactly. Love should make you better, push you to transform.
And speaking of transformation, Eternal Sunshine again. Even with memory on, the characters are still shaped by their love. It leaves a mark on who they become.
Which makes sense if you think about how our brains work. Love isn't just memories or feelings, it's biological.
So not just in our heads, but actually changing our bodies, even who we are.
Right. Love releases hormones, oxytocin, for bonding, and dopamine, the pleasure one. These create connections that last even if we don't realize it.
Our brains are literally rewired by love. Connections that stick around, affecting us even after a relationship ends.
And that brings us back to choice versus destiny. Eternal Sunshine hints at fate, right? Drawn to certain people. Again, Mr. Nobody, different timelines. Love depends on what we choose.
Makes you wonder, how much control do we actually have over who we fall for? Are some people just meant to be in our lives?
That's where Jung's idea of synchronicity comes in. Coincidences might have deeper meaning, drawing us to certain people at certain times.
So maybe it's both, choice and destiny, working together, making these intricate webs of love and connection. But one thing's for sure, no matter where it comes from, love changes us. Shapes who we are, whether the relationship lasts or not.
Absolutely. Love pushes us to grow, makes us face our weaknesses, learn from what we go through, figure out what we truly want in a partner. Even heartbreak, it changes us. We carry those lessons forward.
Love's a mirror, showing us our good, bad sides. And in the end, helps us become more, self-aware.
And now, bring it to today, the modern age. Technology, it's totally changed how we experience love. Dating apps, social media, it's a whole new ballgame.
It's true. So many more potential partners now, but are we losing something? Depth, authenticity? It's easy to get caught up in the superficial stuff, profiles and all that.
Yeah, it's a worry. All these perfect images online may set unrealistic expectations, make people insecure. It's harder to deal with the real messiness of love in the digital world.
So how do we find real connection with all this noise, all these like curated versions of ourselves out there.
Gotta be mindful of how we use tech. Is it helping our relationships? Or are we hiding behind it? Are we being real online or just putting on a show?
It's like we need new skills for love now, a new kind of emotional intelligence, balancing the potential of tech with, actual human connection.
Exactly. Tech can be a tool, but it shouldn't replace basics. Real conversations, being vulnerable, seeing each other face to face, that's what builds strong relationships.
We're kind of like pioneers, figuring out this whole love thing in a digital world.
You got it. Love has always evolved, right? Culture, philosophy, science, it all plays a part. Now it's adapting to technology.
It's amazing to watch, isn't it? This mix of our timeless need for connection with all these new ways of finding and experiencing love.
It is. Make it wonder, what's next for love as technology keeps changing so fast?
That's a question we can explore later. But first, I want to go back to something you mentioned before about how love affects our brains. It's just so fascinating.
Absolutely. Let's dive into the neuroscience of love, how it shapes how we feel, what we do, even who we are. So, neuroscience of love, we're talking about what love actually does to our brains, the chemicals, the structure, all that.
It's not just like in the air then. It's a real physical thing happening inside us.
Exactly. When we feel love, our brains, they release this whole mix of hormones. Dopamine, oxytocin, vasopressin, they're what cause those intense feelings, pleasure, that need to be close, that bonding feeling, all part of love.
It's kind of wild to think these tiny little things are driving such big emotions, and changing how we act so much.
It really shows you how connected our minds and bodies are. Emotions aren't just, feelings, they're happening in our cells, our biology.
You said dopamine earlier. That's the feel-good one, right? What's its role in all this?
Dopamine, it's all about the reward system in the brain. You get a rush of it when something's good, delicious food, achieving a goal, and connecting with someone you love.
So it's like our brain is giving us a prize for falling in love, making us want to keep feeling that good stuff.
Exactly. It's a loop, a positive one. Makes us want to keep those bonds strong, stay close to whoever's triggering all that dopamine.
And oxytocin, isn't that the cuddle hormone, the one for bonding, closeness?
That's the one. Released with physical touch, hugging, cuddling, all that. It creates trust, closeness, empathy, makes that emotional bond even stronger.
So it's not just about the initial fireworks of attraction. It's what helps build that sense of safety, that intimacy in a relationship.
You got it. Oxytocin, it's crucial for relationships that last. That feeling of comfort, belonging. We need that with someone we love.
Wow, it's crazy how these hormones, they all work together, this whole complex mix that creates love.
Like an orchestra, right? They're affecting our thoughts, our actions, even how we see the world.
Which makes me think about saying love is blind. In the beginning, we don't see the flaws, we just idealize the person.
And that's partly because of that dopamine, that oxytocin rush. They can quiet down our critical thinking. We're more forgiving.
So literally, we're under the influence. These love chemicals are messing with our heads.
In a way, yeah. But it's important to remember that crazy rush doesn't last forever. As things settle down, other parts of the brain take over, the ones for long-term attachment, bonding.
So love, it changes over time from that passionate, intense beginning to a deeper, longer lasting kind of connection.
Right. That's where things like vasopressin come in. That's the commitment hormone. Helps with long-term bonding, sticking together.
Our brains are designed to take us through those different stages, from that first spark to something more lasting.
Love is a journey, you could say. The brain guides us through it. All these chemicals, pathways, they shape how we experience it all.
So all this brain stuff, it makes you wonder, how is technology affecting it? We're always plugged in these days.
That's the million-dollar question. Tech is so intertwined with love now, how we connect, everything. It's a whole new layer to consider.
We've outsourced love to algorithms now, haven't we? Letting those dating apps and notifications call the shots.
Yeah, it does make you think, right? Is tech changing how we see love, how we connect with people? Maybe in ways we don't even realize yet.
Think about it, dating apps. It's how so many people meet now. But it's also this whole culture of swiping, judging people based on a photo, a few words.
You wonder, are we missing out on something? Real connection, just for the sake of convenience, that instant gratification.
And then there's social media, all those perfect pictures of other people's relationships.
It's hard not to compare, right? Can make you feel insecure, like you're not good enough. Makes it tough to appreciate, the realness of love, the ups and downs.
It's like everyone else is showing their highlight reel, and we're stuck with the behind-the-scenes mess.
Exactly. And all that comparing, it can make you feel bad, get your warped idea of what love should be.
So how do we deal with that? How do we find love when we're surrounded by technology?
That would be smart about it. Use tech intentionally. No, it's swimmer.
It's like finding that balance, using it to connect, sure, but also making time for real face-to-face moments.
Same being a little skeptical of what you see online.
Right, remember that social media, it's not always the full picture. It's the airbrushed version of love, not the real, messy, beautiful thing.
You gotta nurture those real-life connections, the ones where you can be yourself, talk openly.
Make time for that. Having dinner with people you love, those deep conversations, just being together, present in the moment.
That's what it comes down to. In this digital age, love takes effort. Being conscious of how you connect, both online and off.
Well, this has been quite the journey, from philosophy to how our brains work, to love in the age of Tinder and Instagram.
It shows you love sticks around. It adapts, no matter how much the world changes.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I hope it's given you something to think about. We can break love down to biology, but its essence remains a mystery. Maybe it's not just chemistry. Maybe, just maybe, it's the universe guiding us to those we're meant to find.
Keep exploring it. Stay curious, open to the mysteries of love, embrace the challenges, but don't forget the joy it brings. Thanks for wandering with us. Until next time, keep looking up and keep searching within. Peace and love.